We live?
So, boys, normally I would do a countdown trailer, but that's not how things are done on Collecting
Oh, I
Weekly.
hate that. I hate when people do that.
You know, because when you go to watch it on replay, there's a little countdown. So
That's
I'm
like
trying to get away
ultimate
from
scrub
that.
status, in my
It gives
opinion.
me, well, I am a scrub. You know, it gives me some time to kind of configure things, and yeah. So looking forward to this one. I think this is maybe the second time that we've done a dual cast. So
Yeah.
we did
I've never done one of
episode of the
these.
reissue. Yeah. So Dean, your first time. How you feeling about it?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know how it works, so you guys said it's all good to go. So
It's good to go. It's
I
streaming
think
on
we're good.
CW. Yeah,
I think we're good. So, yeah, so we've got Zach here to babysit, but he's seeing the movie tomorrow. So I think Zach,
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll the intro and then we'll have you drop. But appreciate you helping us set this shit up.
Jumbo babies.
All right, let's do this.
Let's start at the beginning, one last time. Earth 67.
Whoa. What the?
I'm Spider-Man. I need you to come with me.
Who the heck are you?
I just told you that. Listen. I'm from the future.
How dare you point at me?
Tell you something. I don't know what they call that stuff, but that little like caramel, man. You gotta stop playing. I mean, if they give me one right now, I'll tear it up live.
That kid is like top 5 memes for me now.
so good.
Oh boy. So I see someone in the chat. It says Facebook user. They're saying we can't hear us. So anyone else having issues hearing us thus far? Let us know.
I can hop on my phone real quick and see what's going on.
Yeah,
So
we double
Nicolio's saying
check.
sounds working. So awesome. All right, let's go. So I will check in with the chat here in just a second, but thank you everyone for joining for this Across the Spider-Verse spoiler conversation. We're going to start off with no spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, we're going to try to keep it with no spoilers. You know, kind of talk about our high-level thoughts, and then we will get into some spoilers in just a bit. So I think we've got a nice little agenda for y'all. And look at who we've got in here. Ben Thomas from the Ben Thomas Show. Ben, how you doing?
Hey guys, good. Thanks for the invite. Definitely appreciate it. I was scarfing my dinner so I could try and jump on and talk some Spider-Verse with you guys. You know what I'm saying?
What an absolute champion, bro. Appreciate
100%.
you being in here. Yeah, so with that, I'm going to start with some high-level thoughts. Dean, since you were, first to commit, I'm going to start with you. What were your high-level, spoiler-free thoughts of this film?
It's very, very good. Let me preface with what I'm about to say. It's with that. It's a very enjoyable film. I think watching animated Spider-Man blows everything out of the water. And I love like the MCU movies and like live action movies just as much as the next guy. But you could just make Spider-Man do such cool shit when you animate him digitally.
And boy, do they.
And especially in this style, very comic booky, lots of lines and colors. I mean, it's just next level fantastic. But the story, we've seen a little bit of it before. It's nothing groundbreaking or new. So that was I was like, okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's just, I wanted my mind to be blown, but even in the past, 2 years, we've gotten a lot of multiversal fucking cosmic interdimensional weaving stories left, right, and center. So I guess that was going to be hard.
What was that? What was that one that we went and saw? The Everything All Everywhere. All
Yeah,
at
everything,
Once?
everywhere, all at once. That movie,
Yeah.
that's a hard movie to beat. But not even that movie. I mean, just in the Marvel Cinematic Series alone, the Loki show, Doctor Strange, this series, it's the second one. What was the Ant-Man? It's definitely been done. And we'll get into why I think that in a little bit, but yeah, I had so much fun watching this movie. Like, do not get it twisted. I thought it was fantastic start to finish.
Heck yeah, man. Looking forward to hearing your deeper dive thoughts. So, Rainer, I'm going to kick it to you as well. What do you think of this film?
Well, pretty much everything Dean says, I'm in agreement on. I didn't know about spoiler free. It is there's gonna be a well, I can't say that without spoilers, so I'll hold that
Jesus.
thought. Yeah, but I thought it was good. I thought that there was a lot of comedy as you expect from a Spider-Man movie. A lot of, like Dean said, the animations, letting them do what they are supposed to be able to do in the world. It was really, really, really enjoyable. It's like if you ever seen a Spider-Verse movie, it's like watching a comic book. Um, yeah, I definitely give it like a solid 8.59 out of 10, I think.
Rainer, we will get there, but I appreciate the score already. So yeah, thank you for those thoughts, man. Ben,
no
I'm gonna
worries.
kick it to you. All right, so what do you think? High level, no spoilers. What were your overall thoughts?
So I went and saw this film with an art teacher, and I have to say I haven't had my arm squeezed this many times throughout the course of a film in my entire life. Now,
You picked a good one, bro.
hopefully it was due to the art and not sheer dateness, but no. just
Funny
kidding.
thing about your arm.
No doubt. So no, I mean, my first take on this, of course, without spoilers, is the art, like the artistry, the colors, the way they put like blended scenes together. It was absolutely stunning to watch.
A lot of the subtle tones.
Insane. That alone, honestly, in my opinion, is worth seeing this film. I liked the story, honestly. I didn't have too many gripes about it, and we'll get into it a little bit more in detail in a few minutes. But I overall would say that it was a really fun ride with a pretty unexpected ending, to be honest. And honestly, I thought that the 2.5 hours that went by were well paced. It felt like it flew by. So maybe I was just enjoying those arm squeezes, or maybe the movie was truly that good. Stick around and find out, I suppose.
You never know.
Yes. So I
Humble
think the film is
brag.
actually, there you go, humble brag. I think the film is actually
Got
not
it a
good,
little
honestly.
bit. Love you guys.
Like, I did have, a bit of bourbon before I went to the theater. So, I was a little bit in my feelings. I will say I got emotional in the beginning. It starts off pretty emotional, but I got emotional by, number one, the plot, but also how good it is. Like, overall, I was just like, we don't deserve this film. Like, this is incredibly well made. Off the back of the first one, which I think may be the best Spider-Man film there is. We can get into that debate in a little bit. But so I was like, okay, there's no way they live up to that one. And I was just blown away by this film, honestly. I don't want to overhype it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but I just really think there are very few problems that I have. I think it was just an incredibly competent, beautiful work of art. Like, I think this should be winning all the awards, honestly. So incredibly excited to get a bit more into our conversation here. So let me check in with the chat, and then I will run through exactly the structure of today's stream. So we got Christian, formerly Xander, in the house. Such a wicked movie. Loved it. Heck yeah. Thank you for being in here. We got Hishi Wee Big Boobs. Yo, hey, thank you for joining. We got Calvin, the low-key collector, in the house. Sup, guys? Calvin, what's going on? We have Facebook user who couldn't hear us earlier, but I think the sound issue has been resolved. Let us know who you are, because I'm not seeing it on my end. Let's see. We got 16fix, Nicolio the Great and Powerful. Excuse me, Nicolio. Sounds is working. Thank you, Nicolio, for being here. CM Chuck in the house. Evening, gents. Looking forward to their conversation on Collecting Weekly this Friday. So hopefully this will be a part one, and looking forward to hearing their thoughts. We got Nick's Collectibles in the house. Let's go, Nick. Thank you for joining. We got Tina in the house. Hi. Hey, Tina, thank you for being in here. We got Larry Walker in the house. What's up, dudes? Larry, thank you for joining. We got Lemur Hernandez in the house. We got the legend Absolute Irwin. Glad we didn't see the action figure universe in the movie. Thank goodness we can put that speculation to bed, and then we can roll into everyone's speculation on the Flash. I know Ben and Dean have been going hard into their speculations.
I thought it was possible when I saw one of the parts, and again, I don't want to give too much away yet, but I thought it was possible we'd see it. So
very good. And let's see, and Nick there. So thank you everyone for joining. The structure of today's chat. So I think we're going to start spoilers now. So just to be on the safe side, if you haven't seen, drop, bookmark this one, come back to it after you see the film. But we're going to do a quick overview of the plot. I want to talk about the voice cast standouts, our favorite and least favorite parts of the film. And then I want us to rank the film in terms of where it ranks on Spider-Man film overall. So, live action, animated, where it ranks on all the Spider-Man film, and then rate it. So normally on my channel, we do pancakes, right? 10 out of 10 pancakes. So we'll go to that. And then I want to talk really quickly about the figures. Did this change your mind on anything that's been announced? Are there any figures that you may want them to announce after seeing the film? And then a few predictions for the part 2 of this film, or I guess part 3. So with that, let's get on into the plot. So I'm going to read this description like Zach normally would on Collecting Weekly. If there are additional things that you guys want to pick up from there, just jump on in after this. So the synopsis for the film: after reuniting with Gwen Stacy, Brooklyn's full-time, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is catapulted across the multiverse, where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. However, when the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles finds himself pitted against other spiders. He must soon redefine what it means to be a hero so he can save the people he loves the most. Oh man, it's a pretty simple plot, but I think it was just incredibly effective. I want to start with one piece, and then Ben, I'll kick it to you. Let's see. Zach is saying, I can hear y'all. Rico, turn your volume up, baby. Okay, I think. So I was really shocked that it starts off so heavy with Gwen, and I loved that twist, right? I'm expecting to pick up with Miles right where Into the Spider-Verse leaves off, but the fact that it gives us so much background from Gwen, she's a character that I really liked from the first one, voiced by Haley Steinfeld. Blown away by
the reason I liked her.
Right, exactly.
Now I know.
Absolute baddie. Absolute baddie. And so to get that background fleshed out, absolute heartbreaking, dynamic with her father, such a strong way to start the film. Ben, what did you think of the beginning? Any standouts of the overall plot?
So my standout of the beginning was not plot related. It was, am I hard of hearing? Because for whatever reason, at least in the theater I was in, when she starts and she's banging away on the drums and going crazy, I only caught about 40% of what she actually says.
Someone else said that too.
This is a common thing.
And I thought it was just me. In fact, it made me question, should I get my hearing checked after this? And then I heard other people have had similar issues. So I'm like, okay, that was for sure a challenge with the film. If you have a hard time hearing it at the beginning, you know why. But hopefully they'll tweak that. Anyways, plot related. I liked that they started with Gwen. I was surprised how much of that first chunk of the movie was all her. In fact, I was kind of like, is this going to be more Gwen centric, or are they going to split up? But I liked that they gave us a taste of her universe, a taste of what the art style was for her. I liked the way she was drawn and portrayed in this version, I think, a little bit more. Maybe that's just because she's grown up a little bit.
Are you talking about her world specifically, or just her character design?
Well, both. So both her characters' design I thought was really good. I liked that they changed up her hair a little bit. But also, I liked the artistic style, how she was drawn, how her backgrounds were drawn, the color choices that they made. There was a lot of those purples and whites and kind of watercolor feel. Really, really enjoyed that. The jump into the Miles Morales side I thought was pretty epic as well. But yeah, if you're wanting to talk just about the start of this and how it got started, I really enjoyed that aspect.
Thanks,
of it.
Ben. I appreciate that, brother. And so Dean, I'm gonna kick it to you. What do you think of the start of the film? Did it throw you off? Were you vibing with it right away? Sorry, Dean.
Sorry, I had to switch it. Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. I thought Gwen was a character in the first movie is very vague about stuff. And so she's kind of mysterious.
I guess intentionally so, right? Because she's
right. And you're kind of in the first movie, you're kind of thrust into it along with Miles. So he kind of also has really no idea who she is or what she's about. But he has that schoolboy crush on her, so it doesn't really matter. But as a viewer, it's kind of like, okay, she's definitely cool and likable, but something's up. So when this movie
they left
starts,
a lot of meat on the bone for this.
Tons of meat on the bone. So when this movie starts and it starts giving you all the meat, I was eating that shit up. I was like, hell yeah, give me more meat. Oh, don't nobody clip that. Nobody clip that, please.
Everybody clip that, please.
It was fantastic. I loved it. In fact, if this whole movie was just Gwen, I think I would have been happy.
Yeah.
Because it was so good.
I could have honestly, like, you know, a worse movie could have just done a full Gwen part 1 and then not even gone to Miles at all and just thrown us for a loop there. So Rainer, what'd you think of the start of the film? Were you thrown off at all?
Initially, yeah, I was expecting, like you said, to just jump right into Miles and get going with that. But I was happy to see Gwen and a little bit more explanation as to what her backstory is, her reason for doing things, and the reason for some of her mysterious behavior. Like you put it, it was really good. By the time the father dynamic was in play, I was hooked. I was just hooked.
Yeah, dude. Same thing. I didn't think they would actually commit Gwen to telling her father what her secret identity was. I thought they were going to skip it, and when they did it, and he still went to put her under arrest, it was just like, damn, heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was a gut punch right here.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming off the back of, I don't really recall because it's all kind of a blur, but they show more background of her Peter and her universe and how he's the lizard. And I love the design of that lizard. Kind of similar to what they're going to do in the Spider-Man PS5 game, right? So, like, that was incredibly emotional as well. Has anyone read any Spider-Gwen comics? Do you know if that's, like, pulled straight from the comics?
I don't know. I've never read the Spider-Gwen stuff. I have a couple of graded ones, but that's about it.
Got it.
Same here, buddy. Not sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that was a good overview of the, you know, kind of the beginning of the film. I want to highlight one point here because I was kind of laughing through the entire film, and I think Dean and Rainer are the perfect people to have on this stream because I think we kind of, you know, disagree on this point, so it'll be a good conversation. I was laughing because I was like, people are going to perhaps rush to deem this movie as woke, right? Because there's a different female-led Spider-Man. There's a black Spider-Man, right?
Why
like
you
they've got
lumping me
every
into
variation. What was that, Dean?
I said, why are you lumping me into this?
No, I'm just saying we've had this conversation in the past. That's the only reason why,
okay.
right? Like on a show like She-Hulk, for example, right? I'm not saying that you labeled it woke, but we talked about people saying, "Oh, this is a woke property."
Nah, that's definitely woke.
Okay, there you go. So I wanted to talk about that because like She-Hulk wasn't particularly great in my eyes, and so I feel like it's easier to write off as like, okay, well, it's woke, so it's not, you know, living up to expectations. This is so fucking good. I don't know that someone could write it off for the reasons that you could write off another weaker property. But Rainer, any thoughts on that?
You know, I saw a lot of undertones about it. Like, she has a trans rights poster in her movie. I mean, in the movie in her room, Spider-Gwen. And when she's talking with her father, you know, the colors fade to the trans rights flag. But that's so minor, and honestly, it's not woke in my opinion. I didn't get any woke vibes from it. Now, I noticed some of this stuff when I was watching it, but it's not in your face. Like, you can't call it woke. It's not in your face.
Okay,
yeah, it's not preaching.
Exactly.
Not preaching. Okay.
Yeah, when you're talking down to your audience like they're stupid instead of engaging them in like a creative way, that's like woke.
Exactly.
I hate that term now
pandering.
because
it wasn't pandering.
Exactly. Like, it just made a statement and that was it.
Yeah, the statement was there, but it wasn't in your face. It wasn't preaching. It was just, okay, whatever. It's there.
Okay, fair enough. No, I appreciate that distinction. I hate the term as well. It's just a comedic term.
Yeah,
at this
dude,
point.
everybody, dude, all these YouTubers, just everything's woke. Dude, now nothing is woke. You know
That's
what I
right,
mean?
exactly.
Please stop.
All that went over my head at this point. To be honest, I don't know if I've ever even used the term woke, but like, I was just enjoying the shit out of the scene. She was a badass girl. She had a cool storyline. It was heartbreaking. It was like, it was hitting on all the right notes. It doesn't have to be political. I don't give a fuck, excuse my language, what her sexuality preference is, or if she's got a poster on the wall. I didn't even notice that wasn't part of it. Like, if that's part of her character, I think that's cool. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I think they just like that. Not everything has to be taken to that.
See,
level.
and the
doubt
problem
about it.
is they're reaching now. Like they're trying to say, "Oh, she might be trans because she has a poster and the color's faded." It's like, dude, you're reaching at this point. You're looking for problems,
seems
and if you
ridiculous.
look for problems, you're gonna find them.
Yeah,
But
and-
I personally didn't get that vibe. Sorry.
And I will just say, like, the first movie ends with Miles kind of giving a speech like anyone could wear the mask, you could wear the mask, and so I
Right.
just really appreciate that we're getting a glimpse into so many diverse backgrounds of spider people, and it feels like
Yeah.
a film that's for everyone, but it's not preaching for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, in fact, there's a moment in the movie with like all the spider people, and there's in fact she just got her own comic recently, but there's the Spider-Man in the wheelchair,
Oh yeah, I
like
just
literally
recall that.
any, or like the cyborg Spider Woman who's like a fucking giant.
Or the
It's-
T-Rex.
Yeah, it's like you said, anyone can wear the mask. It's just write a good story, and like Ben said, like I'm just enjoying the story because it's well written and well done. Like
Exactly.
that's all we want. We just want good written shit, please.
Fair enough.
You know, and you know, you can do just have it be relevant to the story. Have it be a good story. Otherwise, do whatever you want. That's my philosophy. Just have
There
it
you
be
go.
relevant to the story.
All right, that seems like a really good distinction. So I think we can leave that there. I do want to go and discuss the voice cast here. So,
Bro.
were there any particular? So I don't know if you've gone to research any of this, but were there any
Yes.
particular standouts in anyone's mind? Because I had to go back and look at some of these. I was like, oh, no wonder the voice sounded so familiar. Like,
So-
there's some great ones here.
So who voiced the main villain to Miles Morales? Who voiced that? guy?
Jason's fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up right
Schwartzman?
here. Yeah, Jason Schwartzman, I think is his last name. So let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah, Jason
Yeah.
Schwartzman.
Yeah, so
I
right-
love Jason Schwartzman.
So right here,
About
he's
to say,
so
he-
good.
He did a really good job.
I agree. He was killer with it.
Yeah, the second I recognized his voice, I was like, "Oh, bro, favorite character in the movie." Like anything he's in, I just love his characters. But there's a lot of Miles Morales' mother in this movie, and I was listening to her, and I was like, "I know this voice. Like I know who this woman is," and it's fucking LaGuerta from Dexter, and I was just like, "Yes." Her name is Lauren Velez.
Is this her right here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm not super familiar with her.
Oh, bro. If you watch Dexter, she's a fucking badass. So good. I was like, immediately, I was just like, okay, this is my favorite. Like, fuck Jason. It's all about Miles Morales' mother, dude, because I love LaGuerta, dude.
Heck yeah, no, she was
those are
amazing in this.
My two standouts.
When they were getting on him for not speaking Spanish, like it was just such a
It was
relatable.
perfect.
Oh my god. So Ben, how about you? Were there any standouts in terms of the voice casts that you maybe recognized a voice?
He's not even on this chart here. I don't think I see him. But Andy Samberg as the Ben Riley character.
Oh, dude.
Thought
that was
I did not realize that
That
was
Scarlet
him.
Spider. Oh man, every scene he was in for me, I loved the way he was drawn, and I loved just like his like persona and his little bit of attitude and like perfect pose and like it was perfect. And then I really like Spider-Punk too. I never really cared for Spider-Punk before. I'm not gonna lie, like it was kind of like it's kind of a cool punk rock version of Spider-Man. This movie made me love.
Yeah,
that
because he was
character.
like actual punk rock.
punk rock.
Like,
He was awesome.
And that's
anti-establishment.
how do you pronounce his last name?
What's that?
Oh, is that who
Daniel
voiced him?
Kaluuya, right? Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
who
even
voiced
Oh,
him.
holy shit.
Which is like indistinguishable. Yeah,
Crazy.
from Get Out.
Yeah.
I like that
Get
even
Out
he had some principles. Like he didn't stick around when they were messing with Miles. He's like, I'm out. I quit. You know, like
yeah, like this shit ain't
Actually
cool.
helped him break out too. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I really like that character a lot.
There's
Yeah,
a
he
lot
was
of
like a-
people in this movie that are in other Marvel movies. Now that I'm looking at it,
Like which ones?
well,
Paperboy?
Haley Steinfeld is
Mm-hmm.
the new Hawkeye. Moon Knight, obviously, fucking
Oscar.
Oscar Isaac,
Dupinder.
Dupinder. What's this guy's name?
Oh my
He's
God.
not the new Blade, is he?
Mahershala Ali. Yeah.
Yeah, That's him,
He's
right?
he's the uncle, right? Uncle
Yeah,
Aaron.
Prowler. Yeah. It's like, god damn. Either the well's running dry or they're, just reusing it people, and it's like, oh, they're. And as we saw in this movie, there's crossovers,
Yeah,
some wild ones.
dude? So why don't we just get into that really quick? So, like, what were some of the
Yeah.
surprise Easter eggs that you all saw? I'm sure that you're going to bring up the Prowler, but go ahead, Rainer. You had one in particular?
I lost my shit when they went to the Lego world.
Dude, same.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
that was
cool.
so funny. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was incredible. So for me, obviously the Prowler. So seeing Childish Gambino, what is his actual name?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Yeah, seeing Donald Glover as the Prowler. It's like, is it the same one? Is it maybe a spin-off variation? Are we ever going to get that in live action? Incredibly exciting. But Ben, how about you? Any standout Easter eggs?
Oh, a couple. I liked seeing Andrew Garfield's scene recreated in animation, but then also seeing his real life self playing that out with Gwen Stacy, like when she dies. That scene for me is such like a heartbreak moment within the Spider-Verse of films. The Tobey Maguire scene, like when he's squatting over Uncle Ben when he's died. Again, such a powerful scene. That Lego scene, I didn't expect a Lego inclusion, and as soon as I saw that Lego inclusion, I was like, maybe we were right about the action figure arms.
That's exactly what I thought too.
And I was like, if that's the case, I'll probably like it more. Yeah, that wasn't the case. But no, I liked those worlds a lot.
I liked the inclusion of the pointing meme that when he's like, Spider-Man's on the loose, get him, and everybody's like, oh, you.
That was great.
Oh my God.
I really love seeing the PS5 Spider-Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was like
he
a quick second. I thought he'd be in it a lot more.
Did you see the young guy playing? The guy who was like, I'm not your guy in the chair. He was playing the PS5 version of Spider-Man on his TV.
Oh, I missed
Yeah.
that altogether.
Yeah,
I
he's
see that.
playing it. Yeah, that's cool.
That's incredible.
Also, like I said, the other like comic variations of Spider-Man, like the one in the wheelchair. I don't know her name, but it's like, oh, like like we were talking about earlier, like all these YouTubers complain about shit like left, right, and center, and so it's like I know about these characters because people complain about them, but it's like, oh, but look, like here they are included. Like it's cool to see. I have no skin in the game on like who they are. I don't read their books, but it's just it's cool.
Sunnyvale Russ is saying, when Gwen opened Miles' carded action figure, I laughed pretty hard. Oh my God.
Part of me died. Part of me died.
Oh man. Big Bretta is saying sound not working. So let us know if you're watching on 16Fix, is the sound still not working? If you're watching on Collecting Weekly, is the sound working? If you're watching on Facebook, is the sound working?
Or is Bretta just a troll?
Yeah. Bretta's probably a troll. He's probably a Russian agent.
Probably.
Sounds working on our YouTube.
Okay, I think we've heard reports it sounds up and running, but let us know if you have any more issues.
I forgot about this one.
Yeah, so the Renaissance Vulture, that was such a cool addition, right? Like that was such an
Dude, you
incredible
shouldn't
way to-
play with fire. You're made of paper.
Oh, it's like, oh, you were sitting there sipping a latte or something, and you got sucked into our dimension. It's like perfect.
Okay, I checked Facebook, YouTube, on both our channels, and sound is working.
Okay, so Bretta may be messing with us, but let us know if that's not the case out there. So I really quickly want to get into. I think we can glance over Miles' kind of background. Incredible though, really really great part of the film, and then let's fast forward to when he meets up with Gwen Stacy. So kind of picking up right after Into the Spider-Verse. What did you all think of 2099 and then Nueva York? Kind of that characterization. So Rainer, I'm gonna start with you. What'd you think of all that?
I thought, without getting too deep into 2099's motives, I do think that he's blinded by his past. I do think that there's I don't know if you want me to go ahead and cover the Miles part of that story if you want to. Cool. So Miles is an anomaly, supposedly, and 2099's job is to fix anomalies, but Miles is the original anomaly. And so the way the Spider-Verse works is there's certain core events that have to happen across each Spider storyline. But since Miles is an anomaly, you don't know what's going to happen if those events don't happen. And so what winds up happening in when they go into one of the worlds is Miles prevents a core event and the world starts unraveling. And I thought that was really interesting because it just shows it really shows no matter how much, no matter what happens, there are certain things you can't outrun and you can't get away from. But the difference is, since Miles is an anomaly, I think he can. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting theory. Dean, what do you think about that whole, kind of focal event, or like, I'm forgetting what they call them in the film. I'll look it up right now. But what do you think of the whole 2099 plot as the bad guy, basically?
Yeah, it's you feel really bad for him. I mean, he lost everything and then lost it again. Trying to recapture what he had lost. And he learned a super, super ugly lesson. And so when he comes to Miles with, this issue, it's like, you're kind of like, yeah, dude, like, shit's gonna happen,
So they're called canon events, right? And Rainer, apologies if you said that already.
Yeah.
But.
So it's like, well, like, he's not wrong in a way. And so you kind of are rooting for him also. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just like a bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy.
He's almost like a Thanos, right? Like, you understand his motivation.
Exactly.
Well, Thanos is a fucking maniac, but yeah.
Thanos is right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I really loved the character. I thought he was super badass. I mean, they made him fucking cool, dude.
Menacing.
They did.
Huge, menacing, fast as shit. He's got cool web. He's got those swords. When there's a scene where they're like on like a vertical train, and he's fucking climbing it. I was like, God damn, like, this guy's cool, man. Yeah, I thought he was great. Bit of a dick just for the sake of being a dick sometimes. Like, he's even rude to people that are just like around him, but he's got a job to do, right?
Yeah, and he's the only one willing to do it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, like, I'm the boss. Like, work is work. You never really get to see him be like him. He's always in like work mode. It's like being around your boss, right? They're never really fun to be around. That was kind of how I felt about
Hey, now, I'm a manager. I try to be fun around. Okay, dude?
That's not what I've heard. That's not what I've heard.
Oh, wow. Yeah, check his Yelp scores, everybody.
That's right. I'll throw a can of paint in this guy's face. So Ben, what did you think of Miguel, and what did you think of Nueva York as a whole, and when the movie shifts to that?
Yeah, so again, I loved the artistry of every world that we got a chance to see, right? Every universe was drawn differently. I loved the futuristic feel, obviously, of the 2099 Spider-Verse world. When I looked at this character, I didn't feel like he was a villain. He was certainly an antagonist, right? So he's somebody that obviously has this job to do, and wants to communicate that to Miles and communicate that level of importance. But he does a terrible job at that, in my opinion. He gets him so fired up. Like, if you need somebody to stick around, you're not like, your dad's gonna die, there's pretty much nothing you can do about it, so
Great
I'm gonna lock you in
motivational
this
speech.
cage right now, and hopefully you don't get out, in an aggressive and very stern way. Like, you would think that after having closed all these fissures, for his mission, that he would have gotten better at subtlety and being able to kind of keep Miles there and understand the importance or the weight of his possible decision to try and divert that canon plan. But he does a terrible job of that. On the other hand, obviously the movie needs to continue, right? There needs to be a move forward with the story. I thought the Spot character also didn't necessarily feel like a villain at first. He felt like somebody who was pissed, but wasn't very well heard, and nobody cared, and he was a sympathetic villain. I thought these both were. I don't think 2099 Spider-Verse Spider-Man ever was supposed to be a villain, but he definitely pushed Miles in that direction. Ominous, though. Ominous. And kind of like Dean said, a little bit of a dick to even the people around him, which, again, terrible way to get the job done. Terrible.
Well, and I felt bad for Spot at first, like you said, yeah.
Same.
Yeah, so Usby, I'm going to kick it over to you. Thank you for joining, by the way. What did you think of Jason Schwartzman's portrayal of the Spot? And did you like him as kind of the lead villain? With, I think Ben made an important distinction, 2099 being an antagonist, but not necessarily a villain.
So yeah, I mean, in the comics, Spot is a joke villain. He's literally looks like a poodle or a Dalmatian. He is a villain of the week. Like, he's only in like two comic books basically. It's Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, like 99, 100, and 101 or something like that. I forget what they are, but he is a joke villain. So the fact that they made him like an Omega level threat villain in this is a pretty cool twist on it, because I think me and a lot of people, when they saw that Spot was going to be the villain, it's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, he's going to be the he's going to be the villain, and then they're going to whatever him, and then the real villain's going to come out later. They're going to not show who he is. Maybe it's Noel, maybe it's some other big bad spider villain or something like that. But they didn't do that. They just transformed him into this crazy powerful multi-dimensional threat. So I think it's cool. I love Jason Schwartzman just in general as an actor, and as
he's so good,
the stuff that he's done. So I thought that he filled that role as kind of like a joke villain good, you know what I mean? I think he played that well, and then we'll see how he does when he's the sort of Omega level, to use your mutant term, sort of antagonist of the next film. I think it's cool. I think his design is super cool. I don't know how much you guys have talked about, because I've been locked in my daughter's room, but like it's the way that they changed the animation style for all the different stuff, and how he's like a raw drawn character, and that you do the kind of, I don't draw, but I've known people who have drawn, and they kind of draw the circles in, and then they kind of sketch around to make the shapes and da-da-da, and how they just left him as that raw thing, because he's just sort of this amorphous sort of, thing, I guess, whatever. So, yeah.
That's a really good point, because I didn't think that they could get any more stylish from the first film, but they've really changed the game in terms of artistic interpretation of all these different characters and worlds. It's such a standout.
Oh, they upped the ante big time.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what you guys have talked about, I'm sorry, but yeah, just the animation style from Gwen's universe, like all the emotional stuff that was happening there, how it was all like watercolors and
so beautiful,
conveyed different emotions when it happened, and they would change to more watercolors to more drawn, so anyways, that's sidetrack. But yeah, Jason Schwartzman, I thought he fit the tone of the movie, as far as the sort of comedy mixed with drama. And then I think he has the ability to be sort of a menacing villain. Just he's got that kind of voice for it for next movie. So yeah,
absolutely. And any thoughts on Miguel O'Hara at all, and kind of how he may differ from his portrayal in the comics?
It's been so long since I've read 2099, so I couldn't tell you. But he's a dick in this movie. I mean, he's basically like the villain of the third act, right? Because Spot goes away, and then he's the sort of villain of the third act, and it's like the thing from, I think it's Hogan's Heroes or whatever, where they're like, are we the bad guys? Like, they're kind of the bad guys. I mean, I know they're just basically not preventing stuff, so it can, and it's, again, it's a moral conundrum, right? It's I think a moral quandary, in that it's the trolley thought experiment, where it's like, you can either save everybody in the trolley, or you can save this one person that you're gonna run over. What are you gonna do? And so I think it's that, but
to a Spider-Man, it's always both. You'll always try and go for both.
Exactly.
So I can see that.
I think he comes from a the future that he comes from is a very bleak sort of thing, so it's probably shaped his worldview as far as that goes. But Oscar Isaac fucking killed it. I'll say that. He was acting the shit out of that role. So, he's definitely a dick. Like to see what happens with his character in the third one, if they can redeem him or not, because he went off the deep end, man. Miles got his goat, and he just, so I don't know. I think he lost respect from a lot of different people. So, We'll see. But yeah, Oscar Isaac killed it. I thought 2099 was cool looking and all that. But yeah, we'll see where he goes in the third one.
Absolutely. And Dean, I wanted to kick it to you because I was a bit confused during the film. Maybe they did a great job of explaining, but I kind of got lost in the plot in terms of these canon events or these absolute points, right? So does every Spider-Man need to have both a tragedy like Uncle Ben dying and the commissioner dying? Is that like the 1-2 combo? Or I wasn't really following that. What did you understand?
Yeah, just from what I know about Spider-Man, it's usually because even Gwen mentions it in this movie, or someone mentions it. But Gwen, oh, that's right, Gwen mentions it. Gwen is Peter Parker's first girlfriend usually, and she always dies, and that's kind of how he ends up with Mary Jane, as he meets her later on, and I don't usually remember it being her father or like the police chief. It's usually Gwen Stacy who dies. And then obviously Uncle Ben dies to give Peter the wisdom and the you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So I guess there is usually two instances to give Spider-Man that push. Yeah, so that's how I understand it.
Okay.
I guess
So it wasn't as
maybe
clear to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for expanding on that. Anyone else on the panel maybe have a different interpretation or kind of understood it the same way? All right.
No, sorry, I was looking for the
No,
mute
you're
button. You know, I don't know. I mean, it seemed, at least from the movie, the sort of the story that they were putting down, it seemed like they needed both. Obviously, you know, if you have Gwen Stacy's and all that but it seems like the majority of Spider-Mans, whatever are it's like attorneys general. Maybe they're Spider's men. But are Peter Parkers, so I think maybe they have to have both die. I don't know, but it seemed like when they were playing this sort of Rolodex of shit that has happened to all these Spider people, that they all had, you know, the Captain Stacy die, and they all had you know, their Aunt or Uncle or whatever die. So yeah.
Oh, that's my eye.
Yeah, that was such a cool
That's what she
to
said.
like see to see all these live action snippets, right? Like that everything's interconnected after we saw the Prowler. It's really cool that they're tying everything together, which was unexpected for me. I kind of thought, you know, this animation would live in its own corner, but of course, no, it makes sense that we'd want to put everything together. So,
when we saw Childish Gambino, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Crazy.
that
right?
was it, bro. I was like, "Oh shoot, okay, yeah."
And you would just hope that means that we're going to get that's not what I wanted to do. You would hope that means we're going to get a live action Prowler, right? Like,
they said as much, that they're doing a animated Jessica Spider-Woman story and a live action Miles movie is in development, or in, you know, whatever.
Heck yeah. So Sunnyvale Russ has a question. Any of y'all know if 2099 needs to keep taking that serum to be Spider-Man? Anyone familiar with that?
I'm not.
I'm not either. Like I said, it's been so long since I've read 2099.
I think that's more of a
probably should read
vampire
that,
thing
but
than
yeah.
a Spider-Man thing. Because he's a vampire, if I remember correctly.
That's at least how they introduced him, right? That he was a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think that's a vampire thing. I don't...
Okay.
To like keep him, I guess, like normal.
Yeah, that was not particularly clear, so sorry we couldn't help there. Nick's Collectible saying they made it seem that Uncle Ben and the captain has to die, but I don't think any captain in Toby's universe dies, so I don't know. Yeah, really interesting. Like, it's like they have an uncle that passes and then a captain that passes, and those are the absolute points. I think that's what they were implying, but again, it wasn't super clear. Ben, what was your take on that?
Well, Gwen Stacy is in the third film of the Tobyverse. And I think you do see her dad on the ground as the police chief at one point, but you don't see him die. So you're not wrong. I think it's just that maybe they just didn't get to it with the Toby.
No, he dies
the
in the first movie.
The Gwen Gwen's
You're
dad.
talking,
I
you're
think you were
talking
saying
about
Uncle
Andrew
Ben
Garfield?
being-
No, in the Tobey Maguire movies.
Oh, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, in the third one, Gwen Stacy's in that as well.
Oh, that's right. She is.
But you see, as I said, you see his dad on the ground, but her dad on the ground, but I don't think they kill him. Anyways, I thought. Sorry, what was the question again? I guess. What was your apologies?
In terms
Lost track.
of how did you understand those canon events? Was it that those two things were absolute points for every Spider-Man, like, or else their world will collapse? Was that what they were saying?
Yeah, I at least I think they alluded to that. I don't think that they necessarily specifically called that out. I think they left it in the gray area a little bit, because I'm sure that there are still universes where that doesn't necessarily need to happen in those ways. But it seems to me that the experience of loss is required in order for that break in their humanity and their decision to go on to be, have that great responsibility. I think is important to the character of Spider-Man or Spider-Woman. So I think that for sure. I don't know if you need both sequentially though to necessarily make it happen. I think it just has to be that level of loss, right? Because I'm trying to think. I could be wrong, but even Tom Holland's Spider-Man, obviously Aunt May dies, but I don't think there's a police chief that dies in that one specifically that he's
Yeah, I
close
guess
with.
not yet, right?
Right.
I think it's just one of the other or both.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's that feeling of loss, that reason to, as I said, accept that great responsibility and move on. I think it's part of the reason why we see evil Miles, who's now transitioned into the Panther. I mean, I guess he lost his dad, but maybe, I don't know. That's a question mark. Maybe that's the fact that he's a wild card, right? Or that he's this anomaly.
I thought that was a universe with a different foundation because the spider thing. Well, we'll get to that later.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. So Rainer, I
makes
think
sense.
that's a good transition. Why don't you go ahead and describe that how you understand it?
One thing, sorry, I just want to get to to answer that question about the serum that he injected himself with or whatever. They don't. I'm reading an article on it right now. In the comics, when before he became Spider-Man, 2099, he was like a drug addict, and then he did experiments on himself, the Alchemax and stuff like that did involve some sort of serum, and it basically made his DNA like 50% spider, 50% human. But there was never really any serum or anything like that involved. But this guy wrote that maybe he's like, in the movie they're sort of adapting that his backstory and whatever is that he's injecting that serum to like stabilize his DNA so he doesn't go like full on spider, or the half spider doesn't come out and he's more human or whatever. But yes, that's all
got it.
to answer that.
Thank you for doing the research. What an absolute legend. Excuse me. So Rainer, I'll kick it back to you. So how did you understand? So I guess a flash forward, Miles gets teleported to this particular universe. I think it's Earth 42, right?
42.
Where there is no Spider-Man. And so
Correct.
I guess give us a breakdown of why that may be the case.
Well, from what I understood it to be is that the spider that bit Miles in his universe was actually from a different universe, and things weren't supposed to play out the way that they did when the spider bit Miles. It wasn't ever supposed to happen, and that's why Miguel says it was an anomaly, because it wasn't supposed to happen. And so because of that, when he got transported back to the universe, the machine read the DNA of the spider, not him. And so he got transported into the universe where there wasn't ever a Spider-Man, and because of that, villains are running amok.
Got it. And so I guess from what I understood, so that spider transported over there. Now I think it wasn't clear whether it was supposed to bite a Peter Parker or a Miles.
I'm not sure who it was supposed to bite, but it wasn't supposed to be Miles. I know that.
Yeah.
Well, so I was watching, I think it was New Rockstars, and I guess there is a flash. So I'm interested to go back and see it, but there is a flash where we see a spider potentially about to bite Miles with braids in his hair. So there's some ambiguity there as well. I'd be really curious how they kind of play that out in episode 3 or part 3.
Yeah, because in the Spider-Verse, it's a bunch of people with the play on the name Peter, right? Peter A, Peter B. What's the other one? Anyway, there's like no other Miles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, You think there would be other Miles Morales
Yeah.
if he was supposed to be a Spider-Man somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
But like Rainer said, he's an absolute standout.
Yeah.
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 He is an anomaly. So I don't think he was ever supposed to be Spider-Man.
Well, and that opens the door for all kinds of stuff, because if he's an anomaly, he doesn't follow the same laws as other Spider-Mans in terms of the core events, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the canon events.
The canon
yeah.
points.
Canon events, yeah. He doesn't necessarily have to follow the same formula, so that means potentially Miguel's right, potentially Miguel's wrong. But I think Miguel was too blinded by his past to see through that and see the potential.
Peter D. Ingus.
Oh, who said that? Irwin, you fucking legend, bro.
Absolute legend.
What a
So Ben,
dingus.
Ben, I want to start with you. So how about we highlight, before we get to the ending, how about we highlight your favorite and least favorite thing of this film?
Damn, that is a hard question.
It is.
I would still have to say the artistry between all scenes and the way that they flowed that artistry together is my favorite part. I want to see it again just to see what I missed in the background, to see like what wasn't the focal point. I think you could watch this movie 10 times and see something different every single time. And I think as a favorite aspect of this film, that its rewatchability is 100% there for me. What I liked least about the film was the fact that 2099 Spider-Man was such a dick and such an antagonist because movie plot, that like it was to the point where he so poorly explained it to Miles that he got him so fired up and created all these issues when you're trying to be the guy that solves them. It makes him being the problem solver feel less realistic to me, because I'm like, he wouldn't get past the 10th Spider-Man. He'd just piss him off and put him in jail. Like, what? Like, no, I didn't like that he was antagonistic for the sake of the story, not because it seemed to really make sense with where he was at. I get that he was pissed. I get that he was upset. He lost what he adopted in his mind's eye to be his daughter, and that was devastating to watch. But I still don't think it gave him the right to treat Miles the way he did and further the plot line the way that it did. It just needed that push in that direction for the story.
To be fair, Miles did just set off a canon event thing, like right before that. So.
Yeah, but he didn't know. He like, you can't be pissed with the guy for that. You have to.
That's
you have to
true,
explain.
'cause-
Like, you just saved somebody's life. You're
Like,
Spider-Man. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us go.
It's kind of funny because like the whole time he's asking them what's going on, and they're like, shut up, we're not telling you. And then he fucks up, and then they're pissed off at him for. It's like, you didn't tell him.
Insane.
Tell
I
him what
learned
he
about
can and
this.
can't do.
Well, and like, look how hurt Miles was that Gwen like essentially lied to him, because at first he thought she was trying to save his potential life when actually she was trying to avoid this breakage of canon event, and that hurt his trust more than if she just screamed at him, "You could end the world," or like pretty much anything else to try and stop him from saving that guy. And he still probably would have done it because he's Spider-Man. That's supposed to happen. He's the guy for that. You can't tell Spider-Man not to save somebody. Like, that doesn't make sense. But like, for him. So as I said, the way that 2099 came after him as being upset and antagonistic and pushing it in that storyline, it felt like it was story for the sake of story, not necessarily the plot thread that I would have rathered see. And I loved everything else about the film. I thought it was amazing.
Really well said, Ben. So Dean, how about you? So favorite and least favorite thing?
Yeah, my favorite thing, honestly, is the deep dive we got on Gwen. It was unexpected, and it was so well done. Really fleshed out her character, and it just made me like her even more. Because, she feels very badly about the events that transpire in this movie. And she, near the end of the movie is gonna try and make it right. And it just shows a lot of resilience and strength in her character, and I just thought it was... Gwen was my favorite part of the movie. Least favorite part, it kind of goes back to what Ben is saying. And we kind of saw this in No Way Home, where Spider-Man will do whatever it takes to save somebody, even if they're not worth saving. Right? Doctor Strange is like, hey, these villains they gotta die. That's their purpose. And Spider-Man's like, no, like it's not. Like, we can do something about it. And that's how Spider-Man should be, right? So why the fuck are all these other Spider-Men just going along with this bullshit?
Yeah,
it's like, I know
sure.
that he has like hard evidence to suggest it, but like not even willing to try seems like a very not Spider-Man thing to do.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my biggest complaint with the movie. It was like, why does it take Miles standing up to this guy for all the other Spider-Men to be like, oh, okay, yeah. It's very MacGuffin-y. It's, you know, they got to move the plot along, but it's like, but that's, like Ben said, that's Spider-Man. He'll save anybody.
Yeah, why is Spider-Punk the only one that's like questioning the established order here, right? Like that's totally...
Yeah,
completely
because
agree
he's
there.
fucking badass.
Dude,
Why are
always the
you-
best. Oi!
He's like, man, you're even cooler with your mask off. It's like,
Well, and not
yeah.
necessarily all of them follow that, right? I mean, we see that a bit at the end, and I don't know if I
Right.
don't want to jump ahead necessarily, but not
But
all
it's
of
like
them
it
are.
took all that for these guys to be like, hey, wait a minute.
This seems like there's more than there's not, for sure.
Yeah. Obey.
So Rainer, favorite and least favorite?
Well, Dean already covered my favorite part to a T. Gwen, the larger role she played, the deep dive into her story. So everything's been said there. I'm not gonna rehash it. My biggest complaint is we have to wait to see it because the ending that was like a gut punch for me. Everything was getting rolling. I was getting into it. I was like, yes, and then it's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta wait for part 3.
Okay, I wanted to bring this up. I didn't know when to bring it up, but
No, this
I
is
guess
perfect.
I'll wait
We were
for
gonna,
you.
that was going to be the next topic, but
Okay, yeah. Use can go. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so use favorite and least favorite.
Oi. Obey. Obey is a bit. No. So you guys took mine. I mean, Gwen was arguably probably the best part of the movie. Her story, the art style was just utterly amazing. How they changed it up between different universes and seamlessly kind of made it all work together.
Yeah.
You know,
Even
honorable,
when you see Donald Glover, it like just works.
Yeah. Honorable
Yeah, it's
mention
crazy.
to I'm not even gonna pronounce his name, but the Indian Spider-Man, that was an awesome sequence of just his
Dupinder.
whole stick with
Dupinder.
everybody. But I think then, yeah, if I can't say the other stuff because it's already been said, I would have to say my favorite part is the sort of relationship development between Miles and his mom, like the whole like speech with, you know, about like, you know, I've loved you since you're, you know, a boy, you know, when you're growing up, but, you know, make sure that the people you run with don't let you forget, you know, that we love you, like the whole sort of relationship building between them. Hit home just because I have, you know, a son he's only 7, but, you know, he's 7 going on fucking 15. So that besides, you know, sort of stuff that other people have mentioned. My least favorite part, I'm gonna be a bitch and just say that we have to wait another year for it because you know, I knew that this was gonna sort of be a 2-parter, but I expected maybe a little bit more not such a huge cliffhanger on everything, like, you know, because you know, I was talking to some friends and we compared it to Empire, where Empire obsessively leaves on a cliffhanger with, you know, Han Solo getting frozen in carbonite, you know, Luke getting his arm or hand chopped off, but at the end of the day, it was more wrapped up, and then
It's more of a complete story.
you knew what they were gonna do after this. Whereas this, like, this is just like, okay, you're done. See you in a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that was such a slap.
yeah, it was just jarring. Somebody in our theater, because I saw it release day, someone in our theater was like, "What the fuck?" What happened?
Excuse me,
what
I
I
literally
said.
said there weren't that many people in my screening. I was like, those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
There were no children there
Yeah.
that I knew of.
And then also honorable mention to Andy Samberg as Ben Reilly, dude. That was so. It was so funny about that because like he was such like a kind of an even cringe character for the day, and just to see him like just be like emo and talk about his musculature and all this stuff was just so funny. So Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen it twice already, and I'll probably see it again here. But yeah, man, Hobby and Spider-Punk is going to get some heavy cosplay this year at SDCC. He was one of the standout, sort of roles or spider people in the movie. So
it's going to be a tough one to pull out. Pull out. My God.
Whoa, what's on your mind, dude?
You know where I'm at always.
Hey, yo.
So I will just echo what everyone else said. Usually I was actually going to say the relationship with Miles and his mom. Like, that was such a strong point. His Latino background, like them getting upset that he doesn't speak Spanish. Like, there's just so many beautiful scenes with his family, like added to that emotional core when he has to leave and, do what he must do towards the rest of the film. Yeah, incredibly well done. The art style, as mentioned, right? Like, it took it to the next level, which I didn't think was possible. That was absolutely incredible to me. Least favorite, I have to say, and I think I've got a slide for this, Peter B. Parker. It was cool that he's a dad now, but I just didn't, maybe it didn't make it in here. He didn't really do a whole lot. Like, he was such a great portion of the first film, and I get there's a lot of characters we have to, kind of get in with, but he just felt like a background character, and it didn't feel like he intervened enough like he should have to kind of assist Miles. So I think his characterization was not the strongest, but I still love that character. I still love what's the actor's name here? I'm going to look it up right now. Jake Johnson, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll be a bigger part of 3 for sure. I think it's going to get, that whole core group is going to be them versus Spot or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. So actually, we're going to get into that right now in terms of predictions for 3. So
also one thing, sorry, honorable mention to the soundtrack, bro. If you haven't listened to the soundtrack, it is dope as hell. It is awesome. It is really good.
Incredible. Yeah. No, that's a really, really great point. Again, in terms of, I didn't think they could do it better than part 1, and I don't know that they did do it better, but it felt almost as good. So, yeah.
So I disagree with that a little bit. I actually liked the soundtrack, the playlist of songs better from the first film, but I think I liked the scoring better for this particular film. Some of the dramatic scenes, the music tension in the background, I thought was wonderfully done. But I think I liked the songs better. I think in the first film.
Okay, fair enough.
I also wanted to say before we move on to this next, the whole ending on a cliffhanger part. The first movie posters that came out said part 1 on them, and somewhere along the lines got taken away. But if you look for Across the Spider-Verse movie posters and find them from like March 2022, they say part 1 on them. Because even walking into the movie theater, Rainer, I was like, it's part 1. And I was like, but maybe it's not, because it doesn't say that anymore on any of the posters. Yeah. And then when it ended, I was like, okay, yeah, it is a 2-parter.
It's like what they do with Infinity War.
I think that was a marketing decision, because otherwise the opening box offices wouldn't be as good. I think that was a marketing decision, plain and simple.
Maybe.
Yeah, because Infinity War was originally Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2, but then they changed it to Infinity War and then Endgame. Probably for that reason.
Okay, yeah, so maybe the third movie will have a totally different name, but...
It's Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay. Then
there you go.
Yeah, so Ben, I think you're the only one, you and I are the only ones that haven't mentioned how we felt about it ending abruptly. So what do you think of the ending?
So I literally had to immediately check my watch to check that it had already been 2.5 hours, because for me it flew by on the first viewing. I was happy about it. I was surprised. I was like, "What?" My date and I looked at each other like actually, like what? Like they're not going to finish it? But then I started to immediately think about it and was happy that they didn't. They still feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone left. There's still a lot of great story to be told, and if they tried to squish that all into a singular film, I think it would have felt like there would have been a deeper loss to fans because they wouldn't have had a chance to develop what they already did with this film and set us up for that next film. I was a little bummed that we didn't see the gang from the first film a little sooner, but just the fact that they're coming to help Miles save the day, either way, gets me really hyped for the next one. And I'm sure that they're probably, they've cooked it in the oven, I'm sure. What did they say, 2024? a year away.
2020. Yeah,
I
March
mean, we
2024.
we wait longer for Hot Toys. So if that's what they needed to do in order to make it a deep and fully developed story, I'm all for it. I'm excited about it. And I think that the third film, once it's released, just like Endgame did, may highlight even still how good this film was, like Endgame did for Infinity War.
Heck yeah, Ben. So for me, I was a bit caught off guard, and I remembered. So the first thing that I remembered was Zach saying like, "Oh, it was supposed to be part 1 and part 2." I think it was on Collecting Weekly. So he had put that in my mind. I forgot about it, and then when it ended, I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, this is part 1." I really had to pee really badly. Like, it's not a short film, right? You mentioned 2 hours 20 minutes, and I couldn't find a good time to go. Like, the entire movie is banger after banger. And so when it ended, part of me was like, oh man, okay, that's wild. Like, I'm excited for the next part. Part of me was relieved because I could finally pee. And part of me was slightly annoyed that it cut off because I just wanted more. But I can wait. I can for sure wait. So yeah, I think it was by far, it was a nice way to end it. It didn't bother me too much. So really quickly want to go on to our overall score. So Ben, I'm going to start with you. What is your overall score out of 10 for this film?
Jeez, 10 pancakes, eh? There's a big part of me that wants to give it a 9.5. I would give it a 9 out of 10 if it were me. Again, I loved the soundtrack, but I didn't think it was as strong as the first. I loved the scoring. I thought that was wonderful. The art was shocking. If it had just been an art piece, that would have made it a 10. Some of my challenges around how they forced the story to progress with 2099 diminished it a little bit for me. But I mean, that's nitpicking what felt like an incredible experience. And a 9 out of 10 for me for an animated film like this is a strong review, because there are few animated films that exist out there that get me as excited about this one did going into the film, and it did not disappoint. So I will give it the 9 out of 10 because I didn't feel like it was a perfect film, but it was excellent just the same and worthy of a rewatch.
I hear you, Ben. I hear you. All right, Dean, how about you? Out of 10 pancakes, how many would you give it?
10 pancakes? I mean, I had fun watching it start to finish. Literally start to finish. I'm giving it a 10, bro. I think both the first and this one are 10 out of 10s. They're so good. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're not crazy for thinking that, honestly. Like, it's just, they're shockingly good. They have no business being this freaking good. All right, so 10. So Rainer, how about you? Out of 10.
I know I said 8.5 or 9 earlier, but I'm gonna have to up it to a 9.5.
Oh wow! All right, jumped a whole point based on the combo. Okay.
I think it was really good, but I have to agree with the points Ben made. Those little nitpicks make the difference of that 0.5 and not giving it a perfect score, because I do think that, like, 2099, I didn't like him, and I didn't like the way he was done, and that's really the only nitpick I have, other than the ending, of course.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Usby.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with Dean that the first one was a 10, but I think I'm gonna have to sort of maybe disagree on the second one a little bit and give it an 11. Because
I knew you were going to do that. I was like,
wow,
Usby is the most positive guy on the planet.
Dude, okay. So, yeah, the reason why I give it that is because at no part in this movie was I, like, bored or wanted to, I had to pee half of it. I was like, no, I'm fucking staying for this.
Yeah, that's it. You
shit.
hold
Like,
that shit.
Yeah, even the, like, slow, like,
yeah.
boring parts are so worth watching.
Oh, God, yeah.
So
and they're so packed with, like, good content.
Yeah, so it hits on the action level, it hits on the emotional level, it hits on the soundtrack level, it hits on the story level, it hits on the, nerd level, which is seeing all those spider people in one thing. It hits on the cameos, it hits on the highs and lows and everything, and it hits on the storytelling for Miles' story. Like when he's getting held down at the end, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna do my thing." It's like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like that is something that he would say, and that just, and the way he says it is just so like, man, fuck you, I'm gonna do this shit myself, and then pieces out. So, yeah, dude, 11 out of 10. Yeah, even with my nitpicks, maybe it was a 12, and the and some of the like, annoyances with Miguel, bring it down to 11. But even those, like, that's just yeah. I mean, I couldn't find a flaw with this movie. And like when you were like, oh, what's your favorite part and your least favorite part? Like I was just like, what don't I like about this movie? Because I like fucking everything. So like, yeah, I'm yeah, this is great. And if number 3 is anywhere this quality, which I gotta imagine it's going to be, like, it's this could be like the one of the all-time great things. So yeah, can't wait.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. So normally I don't agree fully with Usby. He's a little bit more positive than I am, but I'm right there with you, man. I'm going to be just a little conservative. I'm going to say a 9.8. I think I would give the first one. There you go. The first one might be a 9.9. It might be a 9.9. So I'm going to go 9.8 here. I need to see it again, though. I've only seen it one time. After a second viewing, it might, surpass the first. There's just so much going on. Like every frame, there's so much packed in it that this really like counts on those repeat viewings. So I want to get into a little bit of toys talk here. I know this has been talked to death. So I'm just going to open it up to the panel. After seeing the film, has anyone changed their mind in terms of the figures that they will get in terms of what's been announced? Question number 1. Question number 2, are there any characters that you want them to do? I think we know a few of them that have not been announced already.
Totally.
I'm not getting any Hot Toys from this movie. I'm gonna get the figure arts.
Okay. That's
yeah,
not a cheap
let me know when those.
either.
Let me know when those goes up, because I kind of want to get those too.
They should be coming up this month.
Okay.
June, I think BBTS had them out. Let me check.
I'll go because I am the Hot Toys fanboy, as they say. I was not originally going to get the Miles from this because I thought I wasn't into the suit so much, as I like the first one more. And I was like, I'm not going to get it. But the sort of role that this suit played to like clown on him, where he's like, oh, what are you bleeding from your armpits? And just sort of, the stuff that, the thing it plays in the movie and kind of how it looks in the movie and stuff like that. And then plus the accessories that it comes with and the different, the clothing and stuff like that. I think, and just the more mature Miles head sculpt that it comes with and all that. I think it with how much I liked this character in the movie, I decided to get it. I had some rewards at Sideshow, so I splurged on him and got the exclusive.
You locked it
so
in. Heck
yeah.
Okay.
As far as the other ones, I don't know. I don't know if I'll get the Gwen. The suit's just not different really, except for the chucks, and you could probably get those somewhere else, and so we'll see what comes with her when if they announce her, what kind of things they'll do. I might wait for the third movie to see if her stuff changes for that. But or if they come with some whiz bang head sculpt, who knows. But the 2099, probably still not getting him. I want to, because I thought his character looked so freaking cool in the movie.
He's so good in the film. If they
know.
had just made a halfway decent figure.
I know. I want to like it, and it's like, oh, maybe they did it for this and like, I guess maybe because the big his big claws coming out of the elbows, like maybe that's why they do it. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just gonna look so weird in the display. Again, if they made all the other characters in the line like that, like home run, no problem. But since it's gonna look so weird having a jointed character like that just sort of sitting there, we'll see. I mean, if it's cheap enough one day down the road, for Bargain Bin Bros, watch here soon on this channel, then maybe. But no, I don't plan on getting him for sure.
I hear you on that. So Ben, you were shaking your head. Any additional thoughts on this?
The movie didn't make me want these figures anymore. The Gwen maybe, because I did like Gwen more in this film for sure. I feel like this Miles figure doesn't have wide enough shoulders even still. There are some shots of the film where he looks a lot beefier than I think he looks in this figure format. So that's one takeaway maybe, but maybe I'm just nitpicking on that side. The figures that I would want from the film definitely have to be that Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider. If they make that, I'm 1,000% in. Even if it's got joints, I think that would still be a really badass looking figure on the
Would
shelf.
you pose him in
somewhere.
a moping pose though, kind of slumped over, just?
Do you
Were
not
you
have the
saying this-
original? Do you not have the original from the video game at all?
No, I never got it. So
man.
I'm like, I need it. I loved the Scarlet Spider. I thought he was awesome in the film.
Oh, dude, it's musculature.
Yeah,
I'm gripping you in
look
my
at this
ripped
perfect
musculature.
pose. Yeah, man. And I loved Spider-Punk. I'd be really curious to see how they do that in a figure format, because he had a really unique animation style that surrounded him and his guitar and everything. Be cool. So I'd like to
Yeah,
see
especially
those.
with the big spikes, because the original one and they had like the small spikes, which is more accurate to, whatever the game. But yeah, having one with the big spikes would be awesome. I think, but I forgot to say what figures I want to see from this. I think it's going to be cheating for me to say all of them, because I would never be able to afford all of them. But
Fair.
like, there are so many. I could not even begin to tell you which ones I want. There's just so many. It's like every spider person from every comic or every video game or every movie ever is in one place. So yeah.
Even was it the Dupinder or Dupinder, the Hindu Spider-Man? I thought he was.
Dupinder is his character in Deadpool. So that's the
Oh
actor
right,
that-
sorry. What was the?
Racist.
Oh my
I
god.
thought it was Dupinder.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry,
Let me
guys.
look
This
it
is
up
going to
right
be the
now.
last
Character-
episode of movie
I
night.
hate
because
to
we've
see
been
it.
Sensitivity
canceled.
trading with. Let's see what his name is.
Sorry, I can't remember his name, but I liked that character.
Spider-Man India is just his name.
Spider-Man
No,
India.
It's
Yeah.
Peter. So hold on one second.
No, yeah, he definitely had a name. I thought it was. Yeah. Anyways, he was really cool, and I really liked the way that he would spin his webbing around his ankles and stuff. It was very
Yeah.
fancy.
He was like a
Pav-
yo-yo.
Pavatir Prabharkar. Spider-Man India.
Definitely give
Yeah,
him
it's
a
a
different
play.
name.
It's
now.
a play on Peter Parker.
Because it was like Manhattan and Mumbai mixed as well, right? So
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah,
that
back
He was
in
an awesome character. Made me laugh a lot.
Pavatir. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to say that.
I know I shouldn't even attempted to pronounce it, but here we are. You know who else we really need? We still need a Peter B. Parker, even if I didn't love his characterization in this. I think we need like a 2-pack with just like the normal Spider-Man suit. Even give him a little gut if you need to, and then he could have the little baby carriage as well. Like I think that would just be such a perfect release. I don't know why they haven't touched it. Exactly right.
The Power
It just
Pose
feels-
Spider Baby.
I would take Power Pose. So just a little like a Grogu with, a minimal articulation. That'd be perfect. So, anything else? Any other thoughts on figures or wants from this film?
Yeah, I already picked up the two I want.
Which one are those, Rainer?
These two right
Hold on,
here.
I'm gonna solo you here. So you were talking about potentially getting some autographs on these, right?
Yeah, so Haley Stenfield's coming to a con here in July that I went ahead and purchased some autographs for, so I'm gonna get these two signed.
Nice pickups, bro. Very cool.
As for the Hot Toys, I would pounce on the Hot Toys, but I'm trying to get out of them, so it's not seeing enough to make me break that rule.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the line it's not strong enough. It doesn't live up to the potential from the film, right? They have definitely put minimal effort into these figures. I do think the Miles looks nice, but the rest of the line is definitely questionable.
I think if they did a really good Spider-Punk copy or whatever with like a crazy background or whatever, I think if they knock that figure out of the park I think if you got a Peter B. Parker, I think it'd be awesome, but I think it'd also just be a Spider-Man body with an animated head sculpt and a small gut or something like that. So it wouldn't be that huge of an effort, but like a legit Spider-Punk with, the patched up pants and whatever, dude, I think that would be, knock it out of the park and make people more invested in the line, because he would be a wild one for sure.
And I do wonder if, this movie's going to be really successful, right? It already has started and it's probably going to go on to pretty insane heights. I wonder if Hot Toys will reconsider, the effort they put into this film, and then maybe for the next one, kind of give us additional figures. Because, I think that they've definitely undershot, given the quality of the release overall. or of this film overall. So I want to open up to everybody 2 questions here. Number 1, where does this rank on your all-time Spider-Man list? So all of the Spider-Man film, live action, animated, where does this place? Let's start with that question, and whoever wants to take it, just jump in.
This movie, I mean, even though it's like higher numbers rating wise, Spider-Man 2 with Tobey and Doc Ock has such a special place in my heart that I nothing can beat it. Like, so far nothing has beat it. But I would put it, man, it's neck and neck for spot number 2 with Homecoming, because I loved Homecoming.
Bro, Homecoming it's the best one for sure of that trilogy. It's still my favorite.
It was like the first time you saw, I mean, the Toby ones were good and all that stuff, but like this was the first time we saw like a full, like, oh my god, this is a comic book Spider-Man, like, without being cheesy, because some parts I think it was just the era were a little bit cheesy on the campy, I guess, if you want to call it that, on the Toby ones, but and I think that the third one kind of left a bad taste in everybody's mouth for the Toby trilogy.
I fucking hate that movie.
Yeah,
like it tops a list of movies I hate. Mm-hmm. There are shittier movies I'd rather watch.
Yeah.
Than that movie.
I know, they like seriously ruined the whole like good faith and everything that they got with the first 2. Anyway, since I'm talking, it's pretty bad. I'm gonna watch it again. Topher Grace's Venom in that. Watch it again.
If he doesn't like it, then
I tried to rewatch it because I hated it so much that I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I'll rewatch it. Like a couple of years ago, I didn't finish. I was like, fuck this movie. It is as shitty as I remember. Fuck this movie.
I know. I tried to watch it with my kids too, and I was just like, oh god, Harry is such a little emo bitch. Anyways, so since I'm talking, I'll go. Where does it rank? I think for me, it's probably top 3, top 2 for sure. I don't know, man. It's hard because it's like I'll watch Homecoming and be like, oh my god, I love this. Michael Keaton is the Vulture, it just did this, that, and the other thing, and all that. But really, the Homecoming trilogy, the Homecoming movies are all kind of like, it's all kind of like his origin story, right? It's basically one long origin story, because now he's at the point in the MCU where he was like kind of starting out, you know what I mean? Where you've seen him in the other movies, so it's kind of, you have to take all those in one. So yeah, I'd about to say it's probably I would say it's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie. At least for now. When I watch the Holland ones, they'll, they kind of swap back and forth a little bit. But yeah, for right now, I think it's my favorite one, or at least top 2 for sure. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, you did cheat by saying 3 movies were 1, but we're gonna allow it on this. Rainer and Ben, how about you guys? Where does this rank all time for you?
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so for me, I would say it would go Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 as in the number 1 slot. I think Into the Spider-Verse would be my number 2. Homecoming would probably be my 3rd. And I would say this would be my 4th. So I think it would rate 4 in the top for me. So still pretty high rating, high praise for sure. Really loved it.
Awesome. Okay, Rainer, how about you?
This is tough. I'm probably gonna rank it in the top 3. Into the Spider-Verse is definitely up there too. For me, it's a fight between Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming for the other spot in the top 3, just because the Homecoming's so great, but Spider-Man 2, nostalgia. I mean, it's what I grew up with, so.
All right, no, hard to argue with that. And I would say for me, it's probably number 3, honestly. I do rank Homecoming number 1. Dean, I'm right there with you. I want to say Into the Spider-Verse.
Was 2.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not with you at all. No, 2, you can't complain about 2, but that's probably in my top 4 for sure. But I think maybe Into the Spider-Verse 2, and then this, I think number 3. It could jump up, though. The more that I see it, it really could, honestly. Incredibly well done film. I want to finish here with just talking any predictions we have for part 3 or anything that we want to see. So does anyone have anything that stood out when you kind of hit the end of this film? Are there a few things that you want to see or that you predict for part 3?
I kind of want to see a 3-way showdown between Spot, Miguel, and Gwen's team, with Miles teaming up with Gwen, of course. I think that would be a pretty awesome fight where they're all trying to stop Spot, but at the same time Miguel's trying to undermine Gwen's team. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be Miles versus Spot, and then Gwen's team versus 2099.
That'd be cool too.
Yeah, because I think he's going to be trying stopping Miles, and they're going to be trying to stop him while Miles actually saves the day. So
no one's mentioning Miles Prowler at all.
That's going to get resolved so fast. It's going to be like a non-issue. Within like the first 30 minutes, that shit's going to be solved.
Really? Okay.
He's fucking Spider-Man. They can't fucking hold a candle to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like he could break out of those chains the second he wants to. I don't even know why he's sitting there and that's tied up to that punching bag.
Yeah. He's in shock, plain and simple.
Yeah. Wait, I thought that he didn't have his powers or something though, right? Didn't he go to either turn invisible or to charge and then he got knocked out?
No.
No. Prowler blindsided him, sucker punched him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, his uncle, yeah.
I thought there was something about this universe.
The electricity starting to flow and when he's touching the chain.
Okay.
I'll say I think that the I think the thing with the Prowler is going to get resolved soon. He's going to get out, but then I think it's going to go back and he's going to sort of turn the Prowler into the Spider-Man of that era, like see the good in him and all that stuff. But my big dick prediction for this.
Wow, big dick prediction.
Big dick
Trademark
prediction. That. I know, mark that. Big dick prediction. USB's big dick prediction. That Spot is gonna. Are you familiar with how Miles Morales came into the comic universe at all?
No. So
quick
was just
rundown.
kind of introduced as like an alternate, right?
Quick rundown. He was in the Ultimate Universe. Peter Parker died, and he took over for him. He was in the Ultimate Universe, and that's separate from Peter Parker's 616 universe. This event happened, collapsed all the universes into one, and then Miles was now in the mainline universe. So, big dip prediction. What I think is going to happen is Spot, now that he's a trans-dimensional being and can travel between universes, he's going to collapse them or do something like that, and then Miles Morales live action is going to emerge at the end of number 3, and that's going to go into the MCU and do that shit. So, big dick prediction.
Awesome.
Wow.
Is Sony going to play ball still? I thought they wanted out.
They're all making so much money. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. He might not come out in the MCU. Maybe he comes out into the Sony universe and fights Kraven, which would be awful. But we'll see. But that's my prediction. I think because it's all multiversy. They've already established, live action Childish Gambino Prowler is there. They've already established the other universes with Toby and Andrew are there. And they've already said, Earth 99999 with the Nerd and Doctor Strange are there. So all it takes is for something to collapse and Miles to pop out into the mainline universe. So I think that's my USB's big dick prediction.
I love that. And Sony does scare me though. If they take a live action and they do it themselves, it's like they're either making incredible films or the absolute worst films you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't like Venom. I'm sorry. I
don't know. Fox is kind of taking the cake on the worst movies.
I don't know.
Fox
man.
had some bad ones.
Fox had some bad ones.
Fox had
but
the Fantastic Four and all the X-Men movies, bro.
But they made some
the
great
X-Men
ones too.
weren't bad. I like
X-Men 1 and 2 were good, and so was Days of Future Past. But then everything else
Love
was
Days
like,
of Future Past.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Okay, they're 3 for what, 10?
It's
Yeah.
a 30% average.
But I mean, Sony also made Venom 3, if you remember that. Or Spider-Man 3 with Venom.
That's
with
right.
Tobey
You're not
Maguire.
wrong.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's that bad.
And they also made both Venom movies.
Yeah, God. I do not like those films. Ben, any big nut predictions at all?
I think Rainer actually hit it on the head earlier when he said that the prediction for me would be that because Miles is an anomaly, he'll be able to kind of have his cake and eat it too. He'll be able to save his dad and not have a canon breaking event. And he'll be the first that's able to break that. And I think it may highlight the fact that there's a way to do it in other Spider-Verses as well, and find a way to subvert some of that potential loss. But I think it'll be Miles that will do it first.
Interesting. Okay. And I will just say my prediction is that we may see other heroes from Marvel. We probably don't need that, and it probably won't happen. But as I kind of started thinking how they may up the ante, it's like, oh, what if they brought in like an X-Men or something like that, just to kind of collaborate with one team? Could be kind of cool to see if they exist in this universe or multiple universes that they will be battling in. So with that, does anyone have any additional thoughts on this that they want to talk about? Dean, looks like you're going to say something.
Yes, I have a question because maybe I missed it or they didn't explain it. But Miles saves the dad of the Indian girl in the Indian world Spider-Man's universe. And it starts to unravel. What happens? Everyone just stops existing? Are they going to fix it? I don't understand.
I think they left it vague.
Like, are they... Because the Indian Spider-Man's still around at the end of the movie. He joins Gwen's team. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what, he just left everyone there to die? Or...
From what I gathered...
Like
Go ahead.
I was going to say, in the Loki show, they can fix anomalies, right?
Well, I think that's what they were doing when 2099 and his team showed up and they were deploying those devices. I think that was trying to contain the unraveling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's like, okay, well then go let Miles do whatever he's going to do. And if it doesn't work, then just contain
just
it.
Fix
like,
it.
Again,
just
he's
fix
blinded.
it.
He's blinded.
But he also said he tried to contain it, I think, and he still lost his daughter as a result.
That's true.
Like he lost
There's
control.
still a risk. Okay.
There's still that risk.
That's before he had all the technology, though.
That's true.
I think he had the technology. He chose to take the technology off and have a daughter instead.
So, side note, I just took a look at my packaging of this. Part one, right there. Part one, right there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Save that. Don't open it.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Shit, now I got to order some.
Definitely get that one autographed. Now that you've done
I
it.
am.
There you go. Incredible. Any additional thoughts? Any questions anyone has here on the panel?
No, just go see it again. I saw it twice so far. I'll probably see it again. Maybe not next weekend, but the weekend after with my son. And yeah, it's good.
I'll probably see it again this week.
I'm hoping so as well.
I love seeing the cashier lady from the Venom movie. That shit was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like,
even though I don't love those films, that was...
Sorry.
What was that, Rainer?
I said she was just acting like it was a normal day for her, is what I was just saying.
She wasn't phased at all, yeah. That was awesome. Well,
yeah, that shit is all connected to everybody. Yeah, that the Absolute Irwin Beyond the Spider-Verse will definitely break out for the animated universe. Look out for that big dip prediction.
I guess Beyond the Spider-Verse, I had not even thought about that, but yeah, Beyond the Spider-Verse. Wow, okay.
That could work.
We are bussing out for sure. With that, thank you to my beautiful panel. Really appreciate this conversation. I think we could probably talk for 2 more hours about this film, but I'm looking forward to discussing the next one when it comes out. So Beyond the Spider-Verse, March 2024.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to everyone. There you go. There's that big dick prediction right there. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I will just say, if you're watching this, please leave it a like, either on 16fix, on Collecting Weekly. Also comment if you enjoyed this Bluckbuster movie night. Do you want us to do more of these? Do you want us to, omit Dean next time? That's totally fair. No, I'm kidding. He's the star. He's always the star. I just had to throw a low blow out there. Also, let us know what you thought about this. Out of 10 pancakes or 10 whatever you want to rank it, what did you think of this film? So thank you again for everyone, and hope you all have a good rest of your evening, and we will catch you on the next Bluckbuster movie night. Dean, before I log out, actually, Collecting Weekly tomorrow, big giveaway, right? We got to plug that.
Yeah, we're going to announce the giveaway for our 3,000 subscribers. Zach already announced it, so I'll just say here again. We're going to be giving away Hot Toys Carnage. So tune in to see how
In
you
the
can,
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, see how you can tune in to win that. And yeah, we're going to have fun on the show.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good time. Were you going to say something, Ben?
Yeah, I didn't realize I was muted. I better win that Carnage.
Yeah, I do not think
You
you're
can't.
eligible.
It's all my sensitivity contributions that are coming.
I know.
I need to be rewarded.
I told him that I'm going to quit the network for the
Yeah, I'll quit.
the duration of the giveaway, and then I'll rejoin at the end.
Oh, boy. Well,
Yeah.
going to be some tough competition out there. But with that, thanks again to everyone. Dean, if you wouldn't mind leading us out.
Bye.
Let's start at the beginning, one last time. Earth 67.
Whoa. What the?
I'm Spider-Man. I need you to come with
Who
me.
the heck are you?
I just told you that. Listen. I'm from the future.
How dare you point at me?
Tell you something. I don't know what they call that stuff, but that little like caramel, man. You gotta stop playing. I mean, if they give me one right now, I'll tear it up live.